what's going on, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Today, we will be previewing the UK Pro in men's classic physique. And today, my special guest joining me is IFBB Classic Pro from the UK, Niall Darwen. Niall, how you doing, man?
Oh, it was good, man. I'm doing really, really well. Thanks for the opportunity to jump on the show. I definitely appreciate someone like yourself going into depth covering classic physique. I feel like I know classic's very popular, but I also feel like it doesn't quite get coverage in terms of other than like a few big names, the actual shows, getting in-depth coverage like this. So I definitely appreciate, your channel and everything that you do. So it's great to talk about this show as well. Like I said, I've got a couple of friends in there, a couple of guys that I really want to see as well on stage. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. So,
Yeah.
So for those of y'all wanting to stay tuned to the UK Pro, I'll be giving you guys the updates. You can also check out Bodybuilders Without Borders. He's great at giving updates as well. Now, I'll share my screen just so we can go through and show the lineup here. So a reminder, the show is actually on Friday.
Yeah.
So prejudging and finals are in one show. So it's going to be at 11:30 a.m. British Standard Time. So make sure you guys are locked in. I don't know of a live stream quite yet, but if there is one, I'll be sure to put it in the description of this video and then also post it on my story. But before we get going, I want to make sure to give Niall a shout out here. Make sure you give him a follow here on Instagram. His tag is One Punch Naz. And
Mhm.
make sure you support him with his codes. And if you're looking for a coach, if you're an amateur right now, make sure you check him out and his coaching. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into the lineup here. So this is our full lineup for the UK Pro. Like I said, this is going to be Friday morning, August 11th. So we've got Hassan Al-Balushi from Oman, Eddie Chip from the UK, Eduardo Cacchetti from Italy, Dylan Dawson from South Africa, Valerie Enchev of Bulgaria, Andrew Fisher from the UK, Shim Goosens from the Netherlands, Lucas Guido of Germany, Patrick Herchik from the Czech Republic, Mark James from the UK, Abu Kanate from the UK, Stefan Matala from France, Sam Michelson of Spain, Edwin Owusu Underwood from Italy, Jivko Petkov from Bulgaria, Ibrahim Sani from Ireland, Joffrey Vassaux from France, and Oscar Young of the UK. So that is your full lineup right there, guys. We'll go ahead and start out with our first competitor. This is Hassan Al-Balushi. You won't be able to find him on socials, but this is his pro debut. He won Class B at the 2022 Amateur Olympia Korea, and I think brings a very solid classic physique. I'm going to pull up one of his front shots to really showcase some of his strengths here. And
Yeah,
I
he's
think,
got crazy X frame.
yeah, this shot right here, I think really highlights his strengths, particularly the lats as well as the quad sweeps. What do you think about this shot, Niall?
I mean, the muscularity, is very, very, very impressive there. It's something that in classic, with the weight caps we have, obviously, this is previous, we've just, our weight caps have quite literally just increased over the last couple of days. But if you have that kind of muscularity and then, you have the shape that he has, it's going to put you ahead of a lot of guys. Obviously, like I said to you before we were recording, there's a couple of guys that I couldn't find on social media. So when I was kind of putting the placings together in my head, I knew there was guys that I wouldn't be able to consider because I hadn't been able to look at them on the NPC site. But this guy, definitely one of the more impressive guys in the lineup. And I think, to be honest, like if he comes out looking anything like this, and I'm assuming that he'll be improved, he'll definitely be one of the competitors that your eyes are just drawn to, especially from a muscularity and just shape, like a really beautiful classic shape point of view.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So that is Hassan Al-Balushi. Next up, we got Eddie Chip. Now, this is
Mm-hmm.
his pro debut, I believe. He turned
Yeah.
pro at the 2021 British Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the last photos that I could find of him. But here's his Instagram, and we'll look at some photos from. So here we got, this is from 8 days out. Now,
Yeah.
when we look at some of these updates, Niall, what are some things that stand out about his physique to you?
So the conditioning, you're saying if these are 8 days out, conditioning here is on point. I mean, definitely the legs. I feel like a lot of UK bodybuilders, we all come from that. Dorian's our best bodybuilder in history, until Samson starts winning more Olympias. But, we've got Dorian, and I think you'll see with UK bodybuilders, a lot of their strengths come from the legs and the back, which obviously, if you go back and look at pictures of Dorian, those are some of his biggest strengths as well. And then obviously that conditioning. He looks like a taller guy as well. I think. I'm not sure. Do you know what his height is? Or
So I think he turned pro in class C, so he would be somewhere over
like
6 foot
six? Yeah,
or
yeah.
close to 6 foot.
Like here, I'd say definitely his side poses are very, very good from the back. From the front, maybe I think he's still very, very muscular. I just think that the quads compared to Hassan, for example, they might need a bit more size. But again, presentation, we're all pros. If you can present yourself in a way that some the judges aren't really concerned with, how big your quads are compared to another competitor, he's very, very good. I'm from the UK as well. I've never actually seen him before. He turned pro the British finals before I did. So for a pro debut, I think he's looking really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Eddie Chip. Next up, we got Eduardo Cocchetti out of Italy. So this is also his pro debut.
Yeah.
A lot of pro debuts here in this lineup. And
Yeah, I noticed that. I was when I was looking at these guys, I think there's about 4 or 5 guys. It's their first pro show.
yeah, so he turned pro. You can see here, this was at the Yamamoto Italy pro qualifier last September, and he
Yeah,
turned pro
his
in
condition
class
was
D.
really good.
Yeah, condition is incredible. I think that's the one thing
Yeah,
that stands out to me. If we look at some of these photos, like the
yeah, that's the picture I
graininess.
saw as well. I think, to be honest, if I was making a list based on everyone's previous placings, this guy is probably going to be in the top 3 in terms of condition. I'm not saying a top 3 placing, but if we were going to rank them based on purely condition, I mean, to be honest, it's more like top 2 condition that I've seen out of everyone of their previous shows. Like that is definitely like that's high pro level conditioning, to be honest, almost like from the lower legs, just from the legs, sorry, lower body, it almost reminds me a little bit of Michael de Boule, the crazy conditioning that he brings to shows. Like it's gnarly. So that's definitely a strong point of his.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The hardness is very, very hard to replicate, especially in the lower back.
Mhm.
You can see here in the quad, you
Yeah.
can see the feathering
That's another thing. There's another guy with really, really good quad shape there, small waist, lats popping out in that pose. And
Mhm.
it's just something that you kind of need to have in classic to stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is Eduardo Cocchetti. Next up, we got Dylan Dawson. Now, this is going to be his second pro show, and
Mm-hmm.
this is a photo from his last appearance, which was the 2022 Dubai Pro.
Mm-hmm.
But this
Do you
is a
know how he
crew with
placed there?
I'm not sure how he placed. I couldn't find the specific
Yeah.
placings on that show just because it wasn't a huge show last year and photos
Yeah.
posted. But this is
That's the one that
standing next to
Michael won as
Michael
well.
DeBoule.
Yeah. I mean, their upper body looks tremendous, the size. Um, his conditioning is really, really good as well. But obviously, in classic physique, I'd say size isn't always the biggest factor. I think a lot of, especially fans, I've watched a lot of classic physique shows now, amateur and pro, and to be honest, I'd probably say size is like more the third or fourth most important thing. Conditioning and then shape. Like Michael's conditioning there, he's outmassed, like out muscled, but his frame is full. So that's why Michael's winning that. But this guy is definitely another one who in this lineup, I think he'll probably be one of the bigger guys. So he's just someone who needs to nail his conditioning.
Yeah, and I think he's got probably some of the best lines in this lineup.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
just got kind of like that crisp look.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
probably his strength.
very, very fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Dylan Dawson making his pro debut. Next up, we got Valerie Enchev, and this
Yeah.
is one of 2 Olympians here in this lineup.
Yeah.
So
I had a look at this guy and immediately I was like, damn, he looks very impressive in all these photos.
yeah, I'm hoping to see. So this is from the Europa Pro last
Yeah,
year.
but these are crazy. Like this is just like he's got everything that you need, for classic. Like especially the size. I mean, I'm not sure what his weight cap is, but that's someone who's, you know, they're not killing themselves to make weight and they're still coming in, round, huge. But again, with the classic shape, the conditioning, this guy, I didn't actually. I was in a rush when I was looking at everyone's pictures, so I didn't actually get to see any of his stage photos. I was just impressed from his general Instagram pictures anyway. But yeah, stage pictures. You said this guy's an Olympian.
Yeah, he qualified off of points last year. So he didn't win a pro show and he was pretty
Yeah,
consistently in the
he's
top
consistently
four
at
or
the top.
five in every show that he competed in. But he was I think he did like 5 or 6 shows and was top five.
Yeah,
So he got points. Um, but
yeah. I mean, he's definitely again. I think this guy, other than Stefani, is probably going to be the biggest, most muscular guy. Um, and it's kind of this is one of those where I don't want to make a prediction because you never know how things are actually going to go until everyone's stood next to each other. But like if we're going off just pictures where everyone's by themselves, he's probably I'd say the second most impressive guy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him on stage.
Valerie Enchev. Next up, we got Andrew Fisher, who's out of the UK. So these are photos from the Europa Pro last year, where he finished in last. And I really think here he has good classic shape. The
Yeah, it's just
the
that
story of this is
conditioning.
conditioning.
Yeah, the conditioning. That's the thing, classic. If your condition isn't there, unless you've got exceedingly, insane shape, if your conditioning isn't there, you're almost immediately getting pushed to the side and they're going to start comparing the most conditioned guys. But you're right, it's not a case of him not necessarily being classic. He definitely fits the division. I'd say probably from like a physique point of view, again, the quads is something that you probably need to improve. Again, he's had a lot of time, and you never know. This is another guy I don't think has a social media page, so it's not like we can get any accurate updates to really, get predicts where he'll place. But yeah, as long as if I was in his shoes, a similar thing happened to me. I was at the Arnold Classic, placed ninth place, which was last, and I knew that I just needed to be sharper. So if I was in his shoes, I'd probably be coming back with insane conditioning, and you never know how much further that can take you in a lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Andrew Fisher, guys. Next up, we got Shim Goosens out of the Netherlands. And this
Yeah,
is a guy who I think is probably a dark horse here in this lineup. He took
yeah, definitely. I've got to shout him out as well because we got the same coach. He's Callum. So I have no idea. I had no idea how he was going to make weight. When I was looking at him earlier this year, this guy is huge. And I thought at first, when I seen my coach share his pictures, I was like this pose right here. I was like, yeah, definitely an open bodybuilder. Oh, hold on, but no, he's classic, and he definitely again he's huge, but he has all the classic attributes. And if he makes weight comfortably, and it doesn't hurt his look too much. Again, with these new increased weight caps, it shouldn't be something that troubles him. I do think I agree with you. He'll be a dark horse. I think again, like with condition that's nailed, which I know Callum, and he's not bringing anyone in out of condition. Um, yeah, Sim he looks absolutely crazy.
Yep. So next competitor is Lucas Guido, who is in his rookie season. Really solid German guy who
Yeah,
sixth at Empro in a pretty deep lineup. This
yeah. I saw this
um,
one. That's a very very good pro debut. To take six out of I think it was 21 guys. He said
yeah, and
one of
that
his
was a
startings.
lineup that the top five were entirely Spanish, and it was a Spanish show, which
Yeah,
I think some of us have our thoughts about that, but
yeah. I've heard about this in Spain before. But yeah, he's a excellent posing. And again, this guy's hitting all the right poses, showing his physique the correct way, but also just his shape in general is very, very classic. Like you said, a rookie season, he's only going to improve, I think. And I imagine that he'll probably have around a similar place this show. I'm not sure whether it'll be increased or the same, but I do have him like around fifth or sixth somewhere there. Which like you said, for a rookie season to be placing that well, especially in lineups like this where you've got experienced guys, you've got guys that are just absolutely massive. I still do think he'll stand out, and I think he'll do very well.
Absolutely. So that is Lucas Guido. Next up, we have another Olympian. This is Patrick Herchik out of the Czech Republic, who won the Prague Pro last year. And this is his Olympia pre-judging brief routine. And I think the thing that he brings is some really crisp lines and hardness. And
Yeah,
he has good shape as well. I do think he is one of those guys, though he's won a pro show, he does have weaknesses that can be attacked.
yeah,
And
definitely. Here, like you can see different areas on his body that call for improvement. I think from the front, he's a lot stronger than he is from the back. I mean, quads right there where he's hitting abs and thighs and the front lat spread. That's that X frame is really, really good. Like I said earlier, is something that you just have to have in classic. And obviously, I'm assuming that this guy's condition probably looks even better in person. Like you said, very, very hard. European guys, man, every single time, even at amateur level, European guys, if you ever get the chance to see them on stage, they almost never miss with a condition. That absolutely shredded out of the mind. And I think he'll be another one who I think conditioning will be one of the best, if not the best.
yeah, so that is Patrick Herchik. Next up, we got Mark James, who is
That's my boy
natural
Mark.
pro.
Yeah, he's a natural pro. I just guest posed with him mid June. I didn't realize he was prepping back then. I think he kept it quiet for a while, and then he got you get to a point with your condition where you're like, right, let me start posting some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
here's some updates from a couple of days ago. And I think what Mark has done this offseason is spent time building up his arms and his legs. They look bigger.
yeah. I was gonna say that when guest posing again, it was about I want to say 7 weeks ago now, 8 weeks ago. He's deceptively big. Like he's very dense, like a very round physique. But yeah, his arms and legs definitely look improved from the last time he was on stage. Obviously, being a natural guy at the pro league, you're gonna have more of a challenge than the other guys will. But on the other hand, being a natural guy, you don't have to worry about things like the water retention caused by performance enhancers and stuff like that. So this is as a guy who he's got great structure, excellent at posing, and if he brings a condition with improved limbs, I think he'll do well.
Yeah, so that is Mark James out of the UK. Next up, we got Abu Kanate, who's
Mm.
making his pro debut. So he turned pro at the 2021 Ben Weider UK. And
I remember him
really
turning.
impressed with these updates, man. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on this?
So this guy is very, very impressive. Huge, dense muscle. Originally, I was thinking really he's one of the only guys where like it's for him, it's almost just a case of condition, really. Of course, he can still improve. I'm not saying he's got a perfect physique, but I think he's got strengths in all the right places that you need for classic. Arms, just chest is huge. Legs aren't a problem. Um, I've not seen too many poses of his back, but like actual like classic look on stage, he's got it, and I really want to see him stood next to Stefan, to be honest, because I think they have quite similar strengths. And it wouldn't surprise me if those guys end up battling it out on stage, even though it's a pro debut. He's definitely put the work in since he's turned pro to be up there fighting with the top guys for this show, I think.
Yeah, very intrigued to see his pro debut.
Mhm.
Lots of potential on him. Next up, speaking of Stefan Matala, we got
It's,
Stefan. So this is probably one of the most hyped guys in Classic right now. He took second at his pro debut at the Mr. Big Evolution Pro. And I think that weight cap increase is going to really be interesting
mm,
now because he had to suffer to make weight. Now these are from
definitely.
about a week ago. Um, what are your thoughts on Stefan?
Um, to be honest, I do have him winning the show. He's coming off a second place. I don't think anyone else in the lineup. I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone else in the lineup is coming off of a second place. Um, and like you said, he really suffered to make weight. This increased weight cap should make things interesting. Should make it a lot easier for him. And this is a guy who, like, he's no matter what, he's going to the Olympia. I know people talk about him saying, "Oh, he's too big. He needs to go to 212 or he needs to go to Open." But I think regardless, for a guy like this, it's just a matter of time until he goes to the Olympia. This is not someone who's really really gonna ever struggle to get there. I mean, second place at your first show is pretty much a perfect pro debut, in my opinion. It's very, very rare for someone to, especially right now with the standard in Classic, people are improving all the time. There's a ton of competitors. And to actually stand out that much when it's your first show, he's got everything he needs to get to the Olympia. I think last time I think it was a bit of a coin toss, to be honest. I was at the pre-judging, I did think he'd won just because of how the judges move people around, but I could also see how he plays second. And I think, to be honest, this show I think it's his to lose, really.
Stefan Matala is definitely going to be in that conversation for
Mm-hmm.
top two, top three. Next up, we got Sam Michelson, who is also making his pro debut. He won
Mm-hmm.
his pro card at the 2022 Ben Weider Spain. You can see right here. And he's a very, very big guy.
Yeah, I noticed that immediately when I looked at his page. He's a dominant physique for sure. Size again is going to be one of his probably his biggest strength. Um, and again, with these increased weight caps, some of the bigger guys they'll be able to play that to their strengths because they're not going to have to be depleted. They're not going to show up on stage as flat. And some of these shorter guys, smaller guys, they might end up getting out muscled or just overshadowed by guys like this. Granted, they need to bring the condition, but I think he's another one of the taller, bigger guys who can definitely get push some of the guys aside in terms of size and just overpowering them on stage.
Yeah, I do think he has one vulnerability that can be attacked pretty well, and that's his hamstrings.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
hamstrings
his
and
stage
yeah,
shots, and he's great in terms of from the front, but if you look
yeah,
at the side and the back,
yeah.
hamstring
Definitely can
big.
make some improvements to the rear for sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, shots like that. I mean, chest, shoulders, there, crazy waist is very small. It's
yeah.
good.
So that's Sam Michelson. Next up, we've got, I think, probably one of the favorites in this lineup,
Mhm.
Edwin Owusu Underwood.
Yeah,
He has taken second place at a couple of shows this year.
yeah. I noticed. I think I saw him on Bodybuilders Without Borders the other day, and I think he's going to be another one. He's in my top three, and I think he's another one who's going to be battling, and he's going to get an Olympia qualifier. It's just a case of, I think, to be honest, for him, he just needs to nail his conditioning again. Like like you said, he's been placing second repeatedly, so it's for him, he's right there. And this is a show where he's going to be coming in, like I said, with a lot of momentum. Same as Stefan, he's bouncing off of second place, and I think he's got one of the best like overall packages in this lineup, and it's definitely a physique that you can see going to the Olympia.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan Owusu Underwood. Next up, we've got Jivko
Mhm.
Petkov from Bulgaria, and he's making his pro debut. So he won the bodybuilding overall at the 2022 Big Man Weekend. And
Mhm.
I mean, this is just a massive dude. He's got
Yeah, it's huge.
now you can damn. I was hoping that picture would stay still. Here we go. This is a good one. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got that classic look, even though he's huge. I love his detail. That's probably
Yeah.
the biggest strength.
Again, another European guy. You know, the detail, the conditioning is always there for them. Size is, like you said, is ridiculous. I mean, winning a bodybuilding overall, I think there's a lot of guys in this lineup where usually you get like two types of classic physiques where you've got someone who's a bit more streamlined and maybe not as muscular, and then you've got the other guys that are dense, very round. And I think a lot of guys in this lineup, they have that to their advantage, and he's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely one of those guys who you could see maybe sneaking into that,
Yeah,
top
he could
six, top
definitely cause an upset in those top placings for sure.
Now, next up, we've got a guy out of Ireland who I think is kind of a sleeper here. This is Ibrahim Sani, who I had a bit of a hard time finding him, but
Yeah, I couldn't
turned,
find him at all, so I hadn't taken him into consideration here because I couldn't find anything on him.
yeah, he turned pro at the 2019 Muscle Contest Ireland, which you can see right
Mhm.
here. He won the overall at that show. So this is his pro debut, and this is a guy who I think is very, very dangerous if he can nail the condition because he
Definitely.
has the shape, the lines, the structure, especially from the front and the back. I think that's where
Yeah.
he really shines. You can see just crazy
Yeah.
quads, like
Waist is tiny.
yeah, and the very just round, bubbly, full muscle bellies are
Hmm.
always dangerous. And
And that's the thing. He's had 3 years, like you said, 4 years, sorry, 2019. Um, I mean, I'm not sure how recent the pictures are on his Instagram, but again, it's a case of like, has he taken those years, to just improve and improve and improve? Because 4 years, I'm assuming that was his last show when he turned pro.
yep.
Yeah, so 4 years is a ridiculous amount of time in bodybuilding. He looks like a younger guy as well, so he's just going to be growing pretty much in all aspects of bodybuilding. Muscle maturity is going to be improved. Practice. The only thing really would be stage experience. Having not been on stage in 4 years, has he still got like that charisma? Does he still feel comfortable on stage? Presentation, because otherwise, there's nothing to me that's he doesn't have anything that sort of screams out like some of the other guys where I'm like, maybe the quads need improving or the hamstrings. He's a very complete guy, and yeah, I think he's a dark horse.
Absolutely. So that is Ibrahim Sani. All right. So next up, we got Geoffrey Vasseur out of France. So he took 15th at the Europa Spain last year in Classic Physique. And here we've got a recent update from about a week ago. So a week and a half out. And his condition wasn't quite where it needed to be at that last show. And
Yeah.
to me, it looks already better. I think his condition, it might improve in a week and a half. I think there could be a bit more, at least in the
Yeah.
post.
Looks
Um,
like he could be a bit sharper again. Everyone peaks differently, and there is a week and a half. You can change a lot. I mean, we've seen it with Rough Diesel. He's the kind of guy that in that time frame can completely change his physique. But this guy, he's very, very good physique again. Delts are absolutely crazy. Good at posing. But yeah, I think, to be honest, like I said earlier, the level of conditioning that is going to be at this show, just based on these current updates, I think this guy will probably fall around like the 7th to 10th place based on like just here. But like again, that's not a knock on him, because upper body is great. Legs are very balanced as well. And conditioning is something that, you can always improve. It's not a genetic factor, in terms of something like if you don't have the arms for classic or if you don't have the waist for classic, there's not really much you can do about that.
yeah, spot on. So that is Geoffrey Vasseur. And our last competitor is Oscar Young. Now,
And
this is
this is another one of my good friends right here, Oscar. He trains at one of the gyms I go to.
Yeah, so this is from his appearance at the Romania Muscle Fest, where he took seventh place in the 212 division. So
Yeah.
definitely a bigger guy, lots of muscle,
Yeah.
definitely no shortage of muscle on Oscar.
So Oscar is, I mean, he's probably one of he's probably the hardest trainer I've ever seen in my life. Like in terms of just he loves working out. He's a very, very secretive guy. I've never seen him in anything. He's completely covered up. The most I've ever seen of this guy is his forearms. You know, he's one of those guys, very, very secretive with his physique. But he suffers definitely, when it comes to preps. I mean, his condition there is great. It's just, and again, like I said, he trains extremely, extremely hard. If you go to his Instagram, I think his Instagram name is like Young 4040, something like that. Actually, if you head to my page, I'll be following him. So
Oh, here we go. I think we got
yeah,
it.
that's him. I mean, if you take a look at some of his videos, you can see the crazy condition he's in. I think that's pre before he got on stage. And he told me, for him, the judges just kind of wanted him to, if he wants to go to classic, was to just keep that midsection as tight as possible, and just improve his overall X frame. Because he's a very big guy. And like I said, he's always covered up. If you look at all these training videos, really, really strong guy, always covered up, but huge in person. So Oscar, I've no idea where to put him because, he never lets me see anything, man. He's a secretive guy.
Yeah, I mean, he looks great, man.
Yeah,
Fantastic structure paired with great condition. That's
yeah.
always the two things in classic that really make you dangerous. So I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to seeing Oscar in this lineup.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is our full lineup, ladies and gentlemen. So what we will do now is we'll get into our top 5 picks. So Niall and I will both make our selections for our predictions. And since Niall was the guest, I'll let him have the option. Do you want to go first, or would you like me to?
Yeah. I'll just go for it, man. I'll go for it. I'll put a little list together.
Sounds good, man.
All right. So in fifth place, I'm actually going to go with Lucas. He did very, very well at his pro debut. Six, I think, he has everything he needs to do very, very well. Like you said, he's early in his career. And if he can stand out in a show of 21 guys, and that was a very good show as well, I think, to be honest, he's going to be a fifth place here. In fourth place, I've got Oscar, just based on, again, I've never even seen his physique in person, but like from the pictures, you can tell he's not. I think he's going to be one of the most conditioned guys, if not the most conditioned guy. I've seen him in person when at the gym recently, and his face, he's got the traditional death face, and you can tell when you talk to him, he's definitely suffering to get in crazy condition. He'll have the advantage of muscle maturity as well. There's a lot of younger guys in this show. We haven't been training as long as someone like Oscar, and like I said, with his training, he doesn't miss. I've never seen anyone that trains as hard as that guy in the gym. So yeah, I've got him in fourth place. I've got CM in third place. Obviously a teammate of mine, got the same coach. I think as long as he has a comfortable time, not necessarily comfortable, but as long as it's not too much of a struggle for him to make weight, the muscularity he has, paired with tiny waist, he has a classic structure despite how much mass he has, and I think he will stand out a lot. And then second and first place are a coin toss for me. I'm gonna put Edwin in second place. That might be a mistake of mine, because he's had a bunch of second places lately, and at this point, especially from a mental point of view, I think he'll be coming in for the win and the qualification. But I've got Stefan in first place. I mean, we've all seen the videos, we've seen the posing. He came to a show where he could just about make weight, and pretty much dominated. Like only one person was above him. And now with this increased weight cap, I think all of his strengths are going to be able to come through. I just think as long as he comes in even sharper than last time, like I said, I think it's between Edwin and Stefan. I don't think it'll be easy for Stefan if he does win. But again, I think just from all the attributes he has and all of his strengths, this is his show to lose. Again, he's coming off a lot of momentum. He's got a lot of fans, a lot of pressure on him. And I do think he can perform. In my opinion, he did perform at the last show. Second place at a pro debut, I don't care who it is. Second place is pretty much a perfect pro debut for me, especially in a lineup like that one. So I think it'll be a battle between him and Edwin, but I think ultimately, I think he's going to walk away the winner.
All right. So you heard it. Niall predicts Stefan Matala will win this year's UK Pro. So without further ado, I'll bring y'all my top five. So I also have Lucas Guido out of Germany in fifth
Mm-hmm.
place. I think he's already shown that he belongs in classic physique as a rookie with a first call out in basically every show that
Yeah.
he's done. Just a fantastic stage presence, brings the condition, has the structure. Despite being a shorter guy, he turned pro as a middleweight. And I
Mm-hmm.
think he's just got a very bright future and will stand out in this lineup. So I've got him in fifth.
Mm-hmm.
And in fourth place, I've got Valery Enchev, who is
Yeah.
consistently a top five guy in any show that he seems to do. And he doesn't really have any standout body parts to me, maybe his arms, but he's just
Yeah.
very well put together. He always brings his condition. And I think this is just a guy who is too good to leave out of that top five, though I do think he might get beat by some of these other guys just due to sheer structure.
Yeah. Structure and shape.
Yeah. But I've got Valery Enchev in fourth place. Now, in third place, I've also got Shim Goosens. I think his mass is going to really make a difference here because he has great structure. He's
Mm-hmm.
got awesome condition. We know he'll come in shape. But I
Yeah.
think the fact that he's bigger than a lot of other guys in this lineup, paired with the condition and the shape, is going to give him that extra boost in terms
Yeah,
of.
I agree, man. Like I said, this is like a show where a lot of the guys around and crazy deep muscle bellies, and it doesn't always equate to size, but when you're looking at people on stage, they look huge because of it. So if you don't have that, you need to combine with mass, and he's the guy. He's probably the biggest guy in this show from a mass point of view. So I agree with you. I think that's going to carry him quite far into the show.
And then in second place, I've got Stefan Matala.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Stefan's structure. His muscle bellies are just some of the craziest out there. I personally am skeptical most of the time when people get hyped up before hitting the stage, but
Mhm.
I think a lot of this hype is justified. Now, I don't
Yeah.
I don't think he's like, the next Chris Bumstead or anything, but
No.
I think he's absolutely fantastic and has really shown that in his pro debut, he belongs in the upper echelon of classic. To be able
Yeah.
to battle with Antoine Loth, who I mean, I
Exactly.
think he's going to do pretty well at the Olympia this year. I think
Mhm.
Antoine's going to be he's going to place. There's going to probably be about 35 to 40 guys at the Olympia, so most guys
Yeah.
are place. I think Antoine's in that top 15. And
Yeah. I
Stefan
agree.
was really, really close with Antoine
Mhm.
show. So I think structurally, he probably has one of, if not the best structures in this lineup.
Yeah.
And I do think it's going to come down to one thing. I think Edwin is going to win this show, and I actually think it's going to be from the back. That was the deciding
Yeah.
factor in that show at Mr. Big Evolution. I think Antoine
Yeah.
beat
I think
Stefan
Antoine
from
has
the
a better
back.
back. Yeah.
And
See,
I
I've not seen Edwin's back. I've seen his conditioning and obviously his history placing. Stefan, I think his back. I don't think it was as bad as people thought it was going to be, but it's
think,
definitely still an area for improvement. I think if it was lacking as much as people thought it would, I think he would probably be looking at third place, to be honest. But
yeah,
yeah, this guy, like I said, man, even when I said, Stefan's winning, I think it's going to be an absolute dogfight between these two guys.
absolutely, man. And here's that back double, very
Yeah,
briefly hit,
that's it.
but
Yeah.
I do think slight edge. I think he just has more mass back there than
Mhm.
Stefan. But I think it's going to be so close. This very well could be a split decision. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a great show. So,
I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. I've not seen a pro show in person. Last time I saw one, I was doing it, so it'll
yeah,
be nice
yeah,
to just sit back and watch.
yeah. So, that is going to do it for our UK Pro preview today, guys. Before we head out, I want to make sure again to give a shout out to Niall, today's special guest. Make sure you guys give Niall a follow on Instagram. His tag is One Punch Naz. And if you're looking for a coach, give him a shout too. He's got a link right here to apply for his coaching services. And before we get out of here, Niall, do you want to give anybody shout outs, or you got anything you want to say to the people?
You know, definitely thank all you guys for watching. The sport is nothing without the fans. You know, thanks to guys like you as well, man, because like I said, I know it's definitely time consuming. You get these huge lineups. You know, you've got to find people who don't have social medias or our names aren't our names on Instagram. You've got to compile lists, you know, placings, contact us to do things like this, and it goes a long way. I definitely think it makes the sport more interesting. When I was younger, and you know, I was kind of just getting into bodybuilding, channels like yours would be something that would have made me more interested in the competitive side of bodybuilding. So yeah, I definitely, you know, want to give you your flowers there, man. And then lastly, I'm just going to give my guys Mark and Oscar, you know, the best of luck for this show. Both good friends, you know, really, really hard workers. Everyone, you know, in the lineup is a hard worker, but those are my boys. So we've got to see them out there, and hopefully they bring the best physiques that they can to the stage.
All right, guys, you heard it here. I want to again just thank my special guest, Niall Darwen, UK Classic Physique Pro, for joining me today for the UK Pro preview. Make sure you guys go give him a follow on Instagram. Also, subscribe to the channel, CPC Bodybuilding, like and share this video with your friends as well. And make sure you guys keep it classic. We'll see y'all later.